The Brazilian architect Oscar Niemeyer has died at the age of 104. Mr. Niemeyer designed some of the 20th century's most famous modernist buildings. He rose to fame as the architect of the main futuristic buildings of the Brazilian capital, Brasilia. And he said he found the inspiration for his distinctive designs in the curves of Brazilian women and Brazilian mountains. A memorial service is to be held at the presidential palace in the capital.
He was a titan of modern architecture, best known for the spacious, futuristic buildings he designed for Brazil's new capital, Brasilia, in 1956. His stamp is everywhere in the city. But beyond Brasilia, he also designed the Sambódromo in Rio, where the annual Carnival parade is held, as well as a modern art museum in Rio.
And this building behind me might look like a flying saucer, but it's actually a contemporary art museum. It too was designed by Niemeyer, and in a lot of ways it perfectly encompasses who he was as an architect.
The most important thing is that an architect must design what he likes, not what others would like him to do.
With his love of curves and organic shapes, he offered a jaunty alternative to the geometric severity of the international style he called monotonous and repetitive. He said his designs were meant to evoke the beauty of Brazil, with sensuous curves mimicking the female body and the beaches and hills of his native Rio. In December 2007, on his 100th birthday, he was surrounded by family and friends, including his great-great-grandson and his students and disciples.
He broke all rational thinking that limited architecture in the past. The straight line, the rationalization. He managed to break all of this with his soft curves that gave modern architecture its soul.
Oscar Niemeyer.
That same day, the French ambassador bestowed his country's highest award, the Legion of Honor, on Oscar Niemeyer. He had taken refuge in France after a military dictatorship came to power in Brazil. But Niemeyer had long been internationally known. He was one of a dozen architects who designed the United Nations headquarters in New York. He was a lifelong communist and friend of Fidel Castro. He designed a red, tubular metal sculpture in Havana depicting a man holding a Cuban flag confronting what Niemeyer described as the monster of imperialism. Those who knew him say he tried to work until the very end of his life with lucidity and humor, his famous works forever carrying on his legacy as one of the greatest architects to ever live.
And Brazilians were very proud of the world renown in which Oscar Niemeyer was held. They're also very proud of what he means to this country. Niemeyer is a symbol of a previous boom time for Brazil, the 1950s, when the country was growing, urbanizing, developing. It was a country of the future. And Niemeyer helped give form, give shape to that future, especially with his obsession with curves. Some saw it as a homage to the topography of his native Rio, others as a homage to the beauty of the local women. Whatever it was modernism with a tropical touch.